When dealing with imported bitmap data in Flash Professional, we actually have a number of different options on how to handle it on the stage. So here I'm going to show something which is pretty interesting, and that's breaking apart an existing bitmap image. So if we look in our properties panel, we can see that this object is a bitmap, and it's an instance of the shot.jpg. So what we're going to do is actually go ahead and say fit in window, and let's scale this down a bit so we can see exactly what's happening. I'm going to use my free transform tool right here. I'll select that, and let's, instead of fit in window, go way down to 25%. Okay, so we can't really see our stage through here because we've got this cat image. If we move him, of course, we can see the stage, and the image is much bigger than the stage. So how do we know that we're kind of sizing this appropriately with our free transform tool? Well, what we can do is click this little outline mode right here on the particular layer, and then I'll hold down Shift as I resize from any of these corners until it's about the size I might want. Now I can turn outline mode off. And we'll have to make some adjustments later on, but that's about where I want the thing. Using the free transform tool, we can also rotate our image. We can skew our image. And we can distort it in a number of other different ways. I'm going to undo all of that and have the selection tool once again, saying fit in window. So what I want to demonstrate is breaking apart a bitmap image. So when I do this, if I choose to modify, break apart, you'll notice that we get this pattern that's very similar to when we're drawing out regular vector shapes. That's because, as you can see in the properties panel, this actually is now a shape. If we unselect this and hover over any of the edges, we get these shape distortion tools. We can also use anything like the subselection tool and select any of the different vector points to make modifications to these handles and so forth, or even just simply adjust the vector points like this. Now, there are great creative possibilities for this sort of thing, none of which we're going to use in this project. However, there are things that are very useful when you're doing interesting things inside of Flash Professional. So how does this work? How is a bitmap image applied to our vector shape? Well, you can see it actually if you choose the selection tool once again and select the fill on your shape. You can see there's the actual bitmap image being used as the fill color. If we go into the color panel here, we can see that the type of fill that we're using is a bitmap fill. So normally it's a solid color or some sort of gradient. This is actually a bitmap fill, and here's the bitmap image that we're using. So when you choose a bitmap fill, you can choose any of the actual images that exist in your library. And I do have this particular image in my library.